Namaste, welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy. So, as you know, the Nobel Prizes have been announced. Today we'll discuss why the Nobel Prize is awarded in economics to Dr. Acemoglu. So, we'll see the names. But first thing first, so from a prelims perspective, the thing you need to understand is Nobel Prize traditionally as constituted by Nobel has been awarded for only 5 fields. One is biology, second one is chemistry, physics, literature, and peace. So these are the original criteria that has been awarded by Alfred Nobel. So remember, you can remember it as MPC, BPC, that what we do in inter, and then literature and peace. So these are the original 5 categories. This Nobel Prize in economics was introduced later as Sveriges Riksbank Prize. So this Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences, which is considered as equivalent to Nobel Prize, which is also given same amount as the Nobel Prize, which is also given announced at the same time as the Nobel Prize. So this can be considered as equivalent of Nobel Prize, but when it comes to prelims questions, you have to be very specific. So the original name of the prize is not Nobel Prize, it is Sveriges Riksbank Prize of Economic Sciences. Now let's get into the detail why these people got Nobel Prize. So if you see, there are 3 people who shared the Nobel Prize. One is Daron Acemoglu, Simon Johnson, and James A. Robinson. If you feel these names are familiar, yes, they are familiar, because from times immemorial we have been quoting this book in Essay and Ethics. So Essay and Ethics, starting from Mr. Anudeep Dursetti. So Anudeep sir has made this book famous by using it in his answers. Now I think almost all of the UPSC fraternity knows this book. So Why Nations Fail: The Origins of Power, Prosperity and Poverty by Daron Acemoglu and James A. Robinson. So they have been awarded a Nobel Prize. So now this book is even more authentic to quote. Already a lot of toppers are quoting this book, a lot of UPSC aspirants are quoting. Now it gives them even more validity because they have won the Nobel Prize. Now, what is so radical, what is so new about this research that they have won a Nobel Prize? Now, their research is on a very, very fundamental idea: the challenge of economic inequality. So everybody would have read Oxfam reports or Human Development Index, which shows that there is a lot of inequality in the world. So these people, Daron Acemoglu and Robinson, want to understand what is the source of the inequality. Is it only the present conditions, or is it something to do with past? So they want to investigate the reasons for inequality. So they wanted to investigate, is it because of the present conditions the equality is happening, or is it because of historical reasons, or is it because of some other reasons like temperature of a region? So why some parts of the world are getting developed and some parts of the world are not getting developed? So this is the core research that they have done. Now let's see their findings. So as per their understanding, they have defined all the institutions into 2 types. So the government institutions or the civil society institutions have been defined into 2 types. One is an inclusive institution, the other one is an extractive institution. So in case of inclusive institution, they are characterized by property rights, they are characterized by encouraging investments in technology and skills, they are characterized by power distribution and a pluralistic society. So in simple terms, we can say inclusive institutions are where power sharing is happening. That means the power is held even by the lower sections of society. So when the power sharing happens, what happens is the wealth of the nation comes down to the last person. The economic and political rights of the weaker and lower sections are honored. So in such an environment, what happens is there is scope of development, there is scope of improvement. So this will be helpful in developing the country. Whereas in the other case, which is extractive institutions, for example, dictatorships, where the civil and political rights are not respected. So civil and political rights are not respected. So wherever they are not respected, so there will not be any rule of law. So there is extraction of resources by elites. So only few elites. So there is no power sharing. Due to which, what happens is a few elites capture the power, and these few elites keep on extracting the power at the cost of human development of the rest of the society. So when the benefits are not reaching the rest of the society, in those societies we see these extractive institutions, and in those societies we see rampant poverty. So this is their fundamental work that they have done. Now the question is, okay, now everybody understand this inclusive institutions are good, extractive institutions are bad. Then the question is, how does this extractive institutions form? So what is the origin of them? How do they originate? That is the first question. The second question is, let's say they have originated, then why are they not changing? So what is the reason behind they're not changing? So these are the two questions that they have went into. So to understand the economic aspect, so they have went into a village called as Nogales. So this Nogales village has a distinctive feature. So it is divided through a wall. So as you can see, there is a wall between the USA and Mexico. So this town is divided between the Sonora part of the Mexico and the Arizona state of the USA. So due to which, what happened? They have got an opportunity to study the same village from two different perspectives. So the northern side of the village, which is in the United States, have recorded the higher per capita income, have recorded higher growth rate, whereas the southern part, there is absence of higher growth rate. Now the natural question is, so what is so different? Because this area is recorded in the same geographical region, they have same ethnic ties, they have same linguistic diversity. Despite that, there is something different. So that difference is attributed to the governing systems of the USA and Mexico. So in USA, we find the democratic rule. Here we have inclusive institutions. Whereas in Mexico, we find extractive institutions. So this is what they have observed, the difference. And another factor that they wanted to study is origin. So why certain countries have inclusive institutions and why certain countries have extractive institutions? So what they have done is, they have went into the research and they have understood the reason is the colonial history. So when the colonizers have started, let's say the A country started colonizing the B country. So there are two possibilities. First one is, if the B country has one, low population density. If there is low population density, what happens? It will provide scope for population of the A country to move towards B country. So it means the A country will settle in this country. So the people from the A will settle in the colony. Otherwise, suppose if the B country, there is a second possibility, that is B country has a very high population density. So if the already existing population of the B is high, for example, take India, Mexico. So even before the arrival of Britishers, there is a high population density in India. So whenever we have high population density, what happens? The opportunity for the country A people to come and settle in the country B is less. So what happens? Then the movement of A is restricted. So there will not be any large scale movement, whereas in case of low population density, A country people will come and settle. For example, you can think of examples like Australia, USA. So in these countries, there is a low population by the time the colonial invaders came into their countries. So when the A settlers settle in these countries, what happens is they will demand for more political rights. So when they demand for more political rights, that lead to establishment of inclusive institutions. Whereas in countries without the native population, so here in case of India and Mexico, so this is the native population. So in native population, the colonizers did not give them any rights. So the main interest of the colonizer is because their own population is not present in these countries. They wanted to create exploitation, so they have instituted extractive institutions. In places wherever there is inclusive institutions, the growth happened. So that is the reason why Australia and USA have been developed into major economies, whereas countries like India and Mexico, Argentina have fallen into extractive institution trap and have remained yet to be developed countries. So this is their main work. They have understood the role of inclusivity and the role of non-inclusive governments. So this answer can be quoted in our essay paper. So in essay ethics, their works Why Nations Fail can be quoted as an example to underline importance of inclusivity in institutions. Importance of inclusivity in social institutions. So this is how you will end UPSC General Studies answer. If the question is on inclusive growth, if the question is on establishing organizations which are responsive to the needs of the people, so you can quote these people in the conclusion, or you can quote them in essay and ethics without any hesitation. So already many students have been quoting them for years. Now you can quote it with more authenticity because they have been awarded the Nobel Prize 2024. So that is the background theme for this. Thank you.